to order. So at this time, we are going to have open forum. Would anyone like to utilize open forum? I believe Heather will. Would anyone else like to utilize open forum at this time? All right, we're going to move into roll call. And as we do, I'd like to remind everyone that while we are on Zoom, as always, please give everyone at the front of the room your full attention. From now, we will move into the approval of the minutes. The minutes were sent out electronically last week after our meeting and once again in preparation for this one as well. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Seeing that there are none, then they are approved and corrected. We will now move into the reports of the executive officers, beginning with Mr. Rhett Wagner.
Onboarding meetings with all the committee chairs as well as our new ADPs, so that's something to update y'all on, as well as the fact we're doing director interviews to determine the rest of our SGA. So after that, we'll have the whole SGA set up, and this administration will be ready to go. Just look up to update y'all on that. Thanks.
Stephen Sadie.
So guys, short report for me as well. We're currently working on 2 endowments, increasing those endowments basically for both an outreach and a retention scholarship for minority and undeveloped communities and for students to be able to come to Auburn. Currently that money would be coming from our ring sales, not our student activity fee, so it's not coming from y'all's tuition or anything like that. It's a big thing to point out to anybody additional money that we're getting from those ring sales. So look forward to more of a report next week on that.
Miss Molly Boudreau.
Hey all, so good to see you guys another week, and it is time for Senate Bootcamp number 2. This one will be a lot quicker than last week. Okay, so Senate Bootcamp number 2. Okay, kind of just to recap what we talked about last week. Filling out that research and benchmarking your customer on any involved. If you have any questions about that, please text me. I do not mind helping you find that. For surveys, expect on 30 returns. For benchmarking, expect a 40 return, and that's like if we're helping you with that whole process, like expect that amount of time. It is super important to plan those out in advance because rushing things is like never gonna end well. So just make sure you're planning this out in advance. Always consider the purpose of your survey and be able to answer that question if Kirsten or Jamie or myself or anyone in Greg asks you. Know why you're looking for the answers to those questions. Consider every factor involved. Remembering back to that Chick-fil-A question, like there's a whole lot more than just do you want the line to be shorter. It was what time of day do you eat? Are you, yeah, so many things. But we'll focus on bootcamp number 2 today. So what is benchmarking? If you were in Senate or if you were in the leadership onboarding, I'm sorry you're here today. This is a much smaller version of Kirsten. To evaluate or check something by comparison to standards, see standard definition. But what does benchmarking look like at Auburn? So when we did an SGA, we're comparing ourselves with peer consular institutions, so that's institutions that we are similar to in some ways, but we look up to in some ways, and that definition of what those schools are can change depending on what you're looking at. Like Kirsten said, if we're looking at parking, our peer institutions are going to be people who are in a similar size town as us, similar kind of college town. We wouldn't be looking at Georgia Tech as a peer institution that because they're in downtown Atlanta and we're in small Long Island. So kind of thinking about the context around that. They're typically pretty lengthy, very in-depth reports when we're doing, like, when the research requesting team is doing the whole thing for you. They're going to be, like, multiple pages, very in-depth, and you're going to get into, like, that conversation administrator with, like, multiple pages to go through. We typically use, like, full-length benchmarking reports for very large initiatives or for when we're advocating for a large change. But it can look a little bit different for y'all. You don't necessarily need to go and have a whole benchmarking. And some of y'all might go the whole year and never use us to benchmark, which is so fine because we can teach you how to kind of use those skills as you're just doing some more research in your different committees. You can go next one. So when you're looking in, if you're writing legislation and you're wanting to look at something like parking or dining, you don't necessarily need like an entire benchmarking report. You're going to look at the institutions that you think are going to be relevant in that situation. So like the example of parking, similar size college towns with us. If you're looking at like football stadiums, you're going to look at probably like SEC schools or similar size football stadiums. Just think about that, become cognizant of it. Decide what you want to know. Ask yourself the same questions as you're going through each institution and make sure that is super standardized because you're going to be comparing Auburn against some of the same things. So make sure like if you're asking these 5 questions about Auburn, you're going to look at those same 5 questions for each GA. So you can have a side-by-side comparison. And it is super easy for the administrators like, well, like how many students can fit in their state? And you have that number for every single one of the schools you've looked at. Definitely utilize your resources. Like we're college students, we are like professional FBI stalkers. We can find anything online. Go through their social media, go through their websites. You don't always need to call them or email them or have that conversation. Sometimes it's just going to take 10 minutes of looking really hard. But if you still can't find it you're looking for and you're nervous about like sending that email, definitely talk to your committee chair or Jordan or I. We can help you get a little more comfortable with sending those external emails and making sure you're sounding professional and you're getting your point across in a very concise way. Figure out community contact. Super easy. Pretty much every school has like a very clear SGA website and just looking at who is their director of parking, who is their director of housing, and their SGA positions. Sometimes it's even like looking for their SGA advisor. You can just help you with that. Not too hard. If so that when you are like going to insurance and like UJ has this, you have to know like why we need that and like does Auburn not have that? Are you sure Auburn doesn't have it? Like triple check that before you get into it. List other institutions you research where while including the exam topic, include the conclusion. You can address those differences and you can maybe talk about like, well, Alabama has this and it's worked well there because of X, Y, Z. So we think that's also going to look at Auburn because we also have X, Y, Z. And being able to like go that extra mile and like make those things that aren't necessarily like black and white on paper, but making those interpolations are thumbs up. Okay, so we go to the box.
Very slow.
No, you're so fine. This is just an example. If y'all were in the onboarding, it's a cultural competency project that Alan and Jordan worked on last year. So this was like probably the best research project that I've been involved on while I've been in SGA. So like, it's like who's the crop? If yours doesn't look like this the first time, that is so okay. Like it is such a learning process. But this is kind of like something to look up to as you're like something to aim for as you're trying to write it in.
Sorry, I'm not very on the computer.
No, you're so fine. So there's like the traditional, that's what it looks like on the front page. You put attention to who it's like directed towards. So last year it was Avery from Michael. And so if you're scrolling through it, like this one, it's 21 pages long. Like it is so long, and you'll don't need 21 pages when you're writing legislation. But you have that purpose, explaining why we're trying to find that. You have the research, you have to be able to talk about how you got your research. So whether that was looking through all the SG websites or emailing them, including what questions you email to each school. Just making sure you're super explicit with that so if anyone ever asks, you don't have to like sit and think about it, it's right there. And then if you scroll down to page 13, that's where, so we have Auburn there, so I'm probably scrolling, but we said what Auburn had. And then page 13, you get to the school. Yeah, so then there we have University of Florida program name, program type, the person responsible for implementation, required for the program, participation rate, other recommendations. If you scroll down to the next school, it's going to have those same exact questions. So it is so easy to look through that report and figure out exactly what program each one has, and it'll take you 30 seconds to look. Yeah, so that's benchmarking. Y'all can very easily do that by yourself. You are so capable. If you need us as a resource to help you with that, we are definitely here to help you. But I have big faith in y'all that you can do something just as good as this. And it'll definitely be a helpful resource for you as you're writing legislation. And then I think that was all on the slide. The next slide. Does anyone have any questions about that? No. Okay, cool. And then just another point, Pierce and I are going to talk on Monday about adding this, but we're going to add something to the, probably to our evolve document. That might change. But we'll probably be adding something to our, if you guys ever request like whole data from earlier, so I've got a couple emails from y'all if you need data from previous schools or submissions, we'll have something there where you can fill that out. We'll be able to get it to you. You'll just have to, talk about purpose why you need the research, when you need it by, just saying it's a normal request. So that'll be coming soon for those of y'all that have asked. So it's gonna comments. But I believe that is all I have. Unless somebody, yeah.
Thank you, Molly. Mr. Michael Thomas.
Okay, so I have a couple things for y'all. First is regarding to dining. We're looking really good on the late night option. It's very promising in the way that the goal is to be in action in 2 weeks, so the first or second weekend of April. And I'll let JD hit more on this in his report, but the biggest thing for everyone is that we have to promote this extremely well, or else we won't be able to keep it. So please go ahead and start telling people, talking about it with whoever you're around. That will be a thing, hopefully first or second week of April. Number two, Safety Walk is coming up, and so if anyone has been a part of Safety Walk or done it in any way, we would love to have your help as a site leader, because that would make things run a lot smoother. And then last, there's a teaching effectiveness committee. So it's led by Dr. Martin, who it's basically the evals that you get in every semester, and this is something that they do look at and evaluate when looking at teachers, whether they're tenure or not. I think a lot of students don't realize that that's used, but it used to be it would have to have 70% of students fill it out for them to use the information. But now they've lowered it down to 30%. In hopes that we can use that information. So as that comes up, we are looking for ways to promote that and to see how we can make or allow more students to realize that they will be utilized and encourage more to fill out that eval. So if anyone has any ideas or suggestions on how to get that done, please contact me or anyone else on exec, because they are open to any ideas. That's all I got. Thank you.
Mr. Tyler Ward.
Hello. So as Ryan mentioned earlier, we just finished our director interviews, and so a little bit about what our cabinet timeline is looking like is that soon we all also have to confirm them the way that y'all confirm exec, and so that'll be a way for y'all to look at all the different positions that we've added, how they kind of correlate with your different committees and different things like that. And so a week from Sunday, we'll host our first cabinet retreat, which I'm super excited about. And then they'll start with their cabinet meetings, and then we'll have safety meetings, different things like that. And so if you're looking to really partner with them, maybe give them a few weeks to kind of get accustomed to the job. They would only be a weekend next week. And so give them a few days, and then we can start connecting all of that. So that's all I have.
Thank you. That concludes the reports from our officers. We will now move into reports of colleges, beginning with at-large. And if you know you're coming up soon, you feel free to mosey on down.
Jones at large. So I had a conversation with a friend from back home about 2 weeks ago. And she's on the Senate at Florida State, which is one of our peer institutions. So I just can get y'all some information about what we talked about, just so we can see like how blessed we are about like how our Senate works, how efficient it is. Their Senate meets at 7:30 on Monday nights, just like we do. But their Senate meetings last anywhere from 3 to 5 hours. So she said there's multiple times she's gotten out of their Senate meetings after 1 o'clock in the morning, which I think is ridiculous. There's not any involvement considered outside of their weekly Senate meetings, so they don't really have any way to gather feedback or to just help their campus as a whole. So that's interesting. They have 6 standing committees, which are very similar to the basis as ours. Their Senate meetings are very unprofessional and basically just consist of people arguing back and forth over a Zoom call. She said that she's met one of her fellow senators the entire semester, so there's no real way of them like being able to create legislation if they don't know one another. The only plus is that their study abroad opportunities have started back. I don't have a lot of information about that, but I'd love to know when ours are starting back, just because I know I've had a lot of constituents eager to be able to sign up for trips and stuff. Also, too, I'm currently working for study space feedback with John David. So I'm excited to see what information we'll be able to gather from that.
Thank you. Agriculture? All right. Business? Oh,
Johnson Business. This week, Lucy has been working on getting Tiger Bread Company and HHH reopened. So she used Molly as a resource and submitted the form to get a survey out. The edits are back, but we're waiting on further approval. We just really encourage y'all that when the edits are back to everybody push this out, because not only business students studying HHH, everyone studies there, and this would just be a really breakdown option to be reopened. Also, we took Molly's advice this week and updated our feedback form that stays on our link tree from a Google Forms to a Qualtrics. And this form is not going to be pushed out, but really it's just going to be used as a resource for when a student wants to give feedback but doesn't have time to sit and talk. We can point them to our link tree or just give it to them right then. And that's what we have.
thank you. CAD-C?
Ensign, CAD-C.
buildings on campus so that they can know where we are to come meet with us. We also have a Zoom link associated with that meeting as well. And then we are going to be releasing a modality poll amongst our college soon. We're going to work hopefully to get some professors to help us send that out to their students, with also working with our college social media. And that's it for now.
Co-Sam.
Cooper, co-sound. Really just a couple of things. Artie and I have finalized our office hours. They'll be Mondays at 9 a.m. and Fridays at 1 p.m. in the Science Center Laboratory building. We thought that since labs are starting to be in person, that's where the most traffic flow will be. And also, I had some complaints come this morning that a midterm was scheduled at Friday at 5 p.m., which was outside of the scheduled lab time. And just the students were really frustrated because they felt like their midterm should be when their lab was. That's really all I have. Thank you.
Education.
Master Education. Senator Dodd and I are going to be having our office hours in Haley from 11 to 12 on Thursdays. And some feedback I gathered this week was many people thought that this wellness day was somewhat better, but a lot of people still thought that it didn't go like as good as it could have gone. And I don't know if that's because last wellness day was on Tuesday, so it'd been like Tuesdays and Thursday classes, and then this past wellness day was on Wednesday, so it'd be like Monday, Wednesday, Friday classes, so you're kind of looking at a different group of professors and classes. But I think that a lot of students are just really frustrated about having really big tests the day after, even though there's no rule about not having a test the Monday we get back from spring break. The thing about that is spring break you have a whole week to decide which days you're going to relax and have fun and which days you're going to buckle down and study, whereas with wellness days you just have one day. So I think a lot of frustration is coming from that. And then we plan on meeting with our president and vice president of our schools council this week or next week, and hopefully we can start establishing that good partnership for the rest of this term.
Thank you. Engineering.
Preston Engineering. So on our link tree, we've updated it to where the survey is a Qualtrics survey as well, and we're still working on getting our office hours nailed down. But some modality feedback about this semester as a whole is that it's better than last semester, and a pretty common consensus is that students like online options as well as in-person options. But I think this student hit the nail on the head when he said that that modality kills the college experience and that it makes school feel more as a chore with no reward, and says that naturally students are going to choose online if it's not standard for all classes to be in person, which eliminates camaraderie between students. So just taking that for the future.
Thank you. Forestry and Wildlife Sciences.
Forestry and Wildlife Sciences. So this Thursday, our school council had our first meeting of the term. It was between me, the outgoing president and vice president, and the incoming president and vice president. We kind of just spoke about our goals, projects that have been finished, and that we're interested in starting up during the next term. Talked about some events, and then overall, it was just a very encouraging meeting. We're all 5 of us will begin to work together for at least the next 2 months, and that's going to be very effective, I believe. And we agreed to meet every other week, just to allow the transition to go as smoothly as possible. And during the office hours this week, I had a very encouraging conversation with our freshman committee member, Julianne Lozano. She just wanted to know a few things about Senate, had a couple of ideas she wanted to run by me, which I'll let her present all those, but that was very encouraging. And then a little bit of information that I finally got back from the survey I sent out like 3 weeks ago. update about the bird project. I communicated with several faculty members this past week, and a lot of them have obviously already noticed the issue and have begun work in the past. And one professor stated that the issue might become more apparent in the coming weeks or months because the cedar waxwing migration should be coming through Auburn. And this Thursday I'll be meeting with a professor who has worked with other faculty members and discussed ways to solve the bird dying issue. So meeting with him to kind of find out what he's already done and how they work towards that issue. And then also some grad students in the past have addressed the issue previously. And so I'm waiting to hear a name and possibly reach out to them to see where they left off and where I can pick that back up.
Thank you, and I'm very excited for this next one. Mr. Bryan for the grad school.
Einstein Graduate School. I appreciate that introduction there, Cole. Dr. Flowers invited all of the GSC senators to participate in a meeting with the Presidential Task Force last Thursday. The GSC executive board members are up for appointment again, and currently their nomination window is open, so anybody that is a graduate student is eligible to nominate themselves or nominate someone else for any of the positions, not the least of which is the SGA senator. So I'd recommend that if you've got any kind of friends that are graduate students, please let them know if they're interested in becoming a member of the SGA Senate, that the window of opportunity is currently open. Executive board meeting is this Wednesday, the 17th, and the GSC Senate will meet on the 24th and consider the nominations, and you will have a replacement for myself after that. Nothing funny.
Well, thank you, Brian. From there, human sciences.
Williams, Human Sciences. Nothing much going on in the human sciences world. Trying to collect some feedback from students about how they like the Second Wellness Day. Haven't really gotten anything. We are starting ambassador training on Monday, and that's all in the human sciences world. But something that came to my attention not even an hour ago, COSAM, this is really directed at y'all, but apparently an email was sent out by Maria Gephardt, and she's the director of communications and marketing, and the email read, research the KKK organization. What do you find interesting about the organization? What do you agree with, disagree? What surprised you about the KKK? How could you deal with aspects of the KKK in your relationships and interactions? And then it's a Zoom link. And apparently that was sent out to a lot of COSAM students. I heard STEM majors because some pre-med students didn't get it, so I don't know who it was sent out to. But apparently it's a part of the DEI challenge, and people may not have been interacting with the DEI emails, but once they saw KKK, kind of everyone going up for it. I don't know what that's about. I just want to let y'all know. Y'all have any information, get back to me if people are asking. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Liberal arts.
Also liberal arts. So firstly, we've been talking with our school council over our last couple of weeks, and we're sort of looking into a couple of measures to better place our students in internships and things of that nature. So look forward to some new information coming out about that. Feedback-wise, we've been getting a lot of feedback from students that want to hear a response to the Auburn for Change letter and initiative, and also today with the KKK post, or not post, but the KKK research initiative, DEI initiative from COSAM. Students, more than anything, are very upset with the wording of the email, and they wish that it, even if this was going to be the subject matter of an email, that it had been presented in a different format.
Nursing. Can you speak into the mic just a little bit? Thank you.
Is that better?
Yes.
This week, we are meeting with the Wellness Committee, to continue collaborating with our Wellness Day events that I talked about last week, and some informal feedback that we got, about class modalities, where we got some positive feedback about how our instructors kind of stay true to in-person delivery methods this year. They would also like to see change on the fact that a lot of our professors will put, they'll teach in person in one classroom, and we'll all be like in the lecture hall. So the other side will have like Zoom, and it'll go like 3 or 4 weeks without switching classrooms. So we're required to be there in person, but then we're also sitting on Zoom in the other room. So we got some feedback that we would like to put that about this class. But that's just about it.
Pharmacy.
Nice Pharmacy. So I sent out a wellness day survey to the pharmacy student body, and we had a pretty good amount of responses for them. 60% of the responses were an 8 or above on the satisfaction scale for the wellness days, so that's really good. And 84% of all of them were a 5 or above. Most of them didn't have any assignments on wellness day or the day after, but ours are a bit different from the Auburn University schedule, so it kind of helps that they plan them out like that. I'm also meeting with the student council for the pharmacy school to go over any like changes that we can make based on the survey and responses. And I'm going to be discussing future modality options with the administration and with the student council because the students have a lot of questions for the rest of the semester and for the fall. Thank you.
Thank you. Vet Med?
Morning, Batman. So office hours are going great. I've had no one attend. But I'm reaching out to people about the wellness day on Thursday before the Friday. A lot of people are upset about that. And I don't really have too much to report. But I did want to represent my college really quick. So we are hosting a COVID recognition week this week. And we have a couple events. So I will be hanging out on Thursday with protocol. And selling a cookies, just to kind of give it like a boost in morale. Because we've been through so much. Just like a thank you to the entire student community. And then Wednesday we have a COVID White Flag Memorial. Will be placed in front of Big Hall. Just as a visual reminder of the individuals who've been impacted by COVID. And yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. As our college reports end and we move into committee reports, I would like to apologize on behalf of COSAM. That message tone was me seeing that Tyler did send me that email, which very much exists, and I will make sure to speak with Senators Artie and Carter to make sure that we address that. Moving into standing committees, academic affairs.
McElroy, Liberal Arts. So this week in academic affairs, we decided on what projects we're going to be pursuing. We came up with 5 projects. The first one is defining modalities and face-to-face flexible terms. And hopefully that can help deal with some of the problems with wellness days as well. Number 2 is issues with payments for different lockdown browsers. So an example of that would be a student paying $15 for a year-long license on Respondus when the school is offering Hammerlock. Number 3 is getting assignments from different websites posted to Canvas. So if a teacher had Canvas and Packback and was using both, having the Packback assignments posted on the Canvas calendar so that students know exactly when those are due. Number 4 is mid-semester reviews for teachers. Number 5 is rentable laptops for students. And as always, if you have any ideas for these projects you're particularly passionate, please reach out to myself or anyone on the academic affairs team so that we can get your feedback as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Budget and finance.
Liz and me at large. So our next committee meeting will be tomorrow at 6 in 222 223, which is the room downstairs. Last week we started going through the budget and finance process in depth, covering like the first round of what things are due, which is initial budget, line item explanation, form, line item increase explanation, and the line item priority sheet.
Thank you. Code of laws.
That's their education. Tomorrow we're gonna have our committee meeting at 11, but this one will be on Zoom because I'll be out of town, so if anyone outside of my committee wanted to attend, just let me know. And I've seen that Zoom link. We're also looking into a couple projects. So the first one is finalizing the code of laws timeline that Senator Molly Sullivan, who was last year's code of law chair, was looking into. Basically, this is a list of all the due dates and timelines for the roles that are specified in the code, but there's just a lot of information there, and we're trying to figure out the best way to compile all of that and make it easily accessible and like really useful for those who would have it. We're also looking into revising some things for schools council and implementing some sort of absence policy, kind of similar to ours. Last year, I met a few times with Ariana Hayes, who was the executive director of schools council for last term, and she had a lot of issues with schools council members maybe not completing office hours or responding to emails or going to meetings, and there was no repercussions set in the code for them. So we were trying to look and see what we could do to help her with that, or the next person stepping into her role, which is Mary Kate Saville. So she's this year's executive director of schools council. I was so excited to hear that. But yeah, we're gonna meet with Mary Kate soon to go over some of our ideas for that, and that's all we have for this week.
Thank you, Kyla. DEI.
Those are the little arts. So, like many of the other committees, we've also started to separate out into individual projects. So, Senator Jones is going to be working on ISO visibility as well as partnering with Senator Matthews on study venues, as he said earlier. They're not exactly sure on the scope of that, but that's going to be very important. It seems that a lot of students feel that they don't have the study space that they need to be successful students. Senator Rickles is working on premenstrual products with Senator Locke, and as well as researching into lower income students. Senator Sechinger is working on reviving the It's on Nuts campaign about sexual assault awareness and everything surrounding that. A lot of other campuses have very prominent programs, and Auburn had one at one time that sort of died out. Senators Warren and Neese are working on bridging main campus with their respective graduate school divisions, and Senator Neese is also going to work on monthly student prayer, and I'm going to work on inclusive housing, sort of partnering with cabinets in that way. So we're really excited to branch off into these different divisions.
Thank you. Student affairs.
Matthews at large. First, we had to change our meeting time because of conflict with class. So we now meet 5:15 and 6:15 on Thursdays. Secondly, Senator Hinson's begun working on benchmarking other colleges on how to incentivize sentinel testing. One way that we've already came up with and are working to put in action is dining is going to provide free meal vouchers for students to go and get sentinel tested. If you have any other ways on how to incentivize sentinel testing and get more students so they can meet their quota for the week, please reach out to myself or Senator Henson. Thirdly, Senator Locke met with Reagan Moss, the president period, on racial equity, and they're going to figure out a game plan on where to move forward with that. Let's see what's next. All right, late night option that Michael was talking about, a little bit more detail. It's going to be a food truck located in the parking lot between the Lamakai Alpha House and 320. So in that little on-campus parking, that will run from Thursday through Saturday. Still working on the hours of operation. There's 4 to 5 different food trucks that are interested, so it'll be a different option each week so that you don't get bored of one option or another. It will work just like on-campus food trucks where you can grub up and use Tiger Dining dollars to pay for it, which I think is going to be huge for students wanting to get rid of their Tiger Dining at the end of the semester. Fifth, daily meal plan. So we had a little debacle last week on releasing the meal plan early, but they officially came out this week, actually today. So I'm going to go back over those again. They also provided me with some talking points on what y'all can tell other students. Firstly, this new meal plan is designed to give parents assurance that their child can pay this one-time fee and eat for the entire semester, which was $90. That was never really the goal per
So that's just kind of giving parents, making sure the parents feel safe that their kids don't have to go and try to figure out meals later in the semester, maybe during finals week. Excuse me. Secondly, these meal plans will also be put on their first e-bill, which allows for grants and scholarships to pay for it instead of parents having to pull out of their own fund later in the semester. The meal plans will start on Sunday morning, go through Saturday night, and restart each week, so that's kind of a change with the meal swipes. Okay, so the all access, which is mainly for on-campus students, will provide students the ability to go grab coffee if they're running late, just go jump in and grab a coffee and go to class, come back, grab a banana or apple and go put that in the fridge for a late night snack. It doesn't regulate students on how often they can go in each day. It allows students to go, hey, I want a snack right now, or I want a snack for tonight, but I don't really want to sit down and get a full meal. Or, hey, I'm going to go meet my friends and rent out the office space. We're going to hang out for an hour. It allows them to have that flexibility to make Central the edge into a hangout zone and a meal place. So to compare the all access option to like what you would pay for per day is a $30 to $45 difference in using the all access plan to get all of your meals and all of your snacks, your coffee. So it's really a bargain if you use it correctly. Even with this increase, we are still one of the cheapest dining plans in the SEC, which I think is huge, being in the middle of the Southeast, making sure that we're still competitive with our dining options with other peer and aspirant SEC schools. There was an increase for off-campus students, but that's just to keep students having the same buying power as would they have in the past, because restaurants or retail restaurants are going to increase their prices slightly. So this is just matching that increase to keep off-campus students able to go to Panera or go to Panda. And then a little information on the edge. It's going to have 9 different food zones, and they're going to go from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Sorry, I have a lot today. Okay, so the dining came out with an article today on the meal plans that goes in depth on what on-campus students' meal plan options are, what off-campus students, what graduate students. To find that, all you do is just Google AU Tiger dining, click the first link, and it's on the top right corner. It says meal plans, and you're right there on it. So you can show that to fellow constituents as well. Lastly, for me, on the dining, especially with meal plans coming out, a question for the week for your office hours could be, do you know about the meal plans coming out that came out today? What questions do you have about the meal plans? Do you have any questions about the change with meal swipes? Do you know what a meal swipe is? That's all for me.
Thank you, JD. Executive Committee, which, by the way, you guys are all required to attend once a semester, so come on down. We have a lot of fun at 7:45 a.m.
So office hours this week, they'll close tonight. As soon as I get home, I'm going to close the form, check them. So if you haven't filled them out, please do that. Obviously, I would like for all of you to put on a city finish them. That's the easiest way to make sure that you don't forget and you get the most accurate information in the forms. But I cannot force that. So next, city exec, like Nicole just said, it's 7:45. Every Friday is required to meet once a semester. There's a Zoom link and then also in person. If you're coming in person, please send me a text ahead of time. Make sure that we don't forget to text in the room. We'll be on a first come, first served basis. But obviously on the email later in the week with all of that information. We continue to meet with small groups this week. I'll probably be sending out texts tonight, so be on the lookout for that if you haven't got one yet. And then, fourthly, I just want to reiterate something. Once again, I'm really happy with all the polls. I know that you're going out of your way to make surveys and kind of get information. But really try to be interactive with students. A lot of the concerns I've heard, I'm just kind of talking to some of you, is kind of builds around the fact that people don't really understand what SGA is, or they don't have a positive picture of SGA in their head. And just polls like, yes, like that'll help us get work done. That's not going to necessarily change their opinion on us. It's really going to come by going out there and like meeting with people one-on-one and getting personal and putting like a name to a face. So that way they can really start to build relationships with your students, and you're not just someone that sends out a poll, every other week or whatever. With that being said, Cole and I are going to work on trying to get concourse hours for next week. We can bring down, hopefully got a little whiteboard or something. We'll have some questions that we want to be asking people. prepared, but I do think it'll be a lot of fun just to have, one or two people out there on the concourse, getting to talk to people, getting to enjoy the beautiful weather we've been having, and really just kind of having, beautiful Auburn day out on the concourse. So last week, because it was a current order last week, it is not, and it is now future order, the content of PSSB 21032201 has not changed. So I think it's appropriate to move it forward. So I move to suspend the move of order and move PSSB 21032201 from a future order to a current order.
A motion has been made to move this into a current order of business. Is there a second? Is there any debate? Seeing no further debate, the bill is moved from future to current order. What's that? Oh, we do need a vote to confirm that, you guys. So sorry. So if everyone could go on Zoom and click type yes if you would like to move that to a current order, and please type no if you would like for it to remain as a future order. The ayes have it, and the bill is moved to a current order. All right, so now we're going to hear from some of our liaisons. Just as a matter of fact, so tonight Leah is not present with us in person, she is on Zoom, but we actually are going to abide by the code of laws this year, and because of that, both our Honors College liaison and our BSU liaison will be presenting their confirmation presentations, and we can begin with Mr. Luke Owens for the Honors College.
Hope y'all are having a fantastic Monday. So, as a clarification, fellow Honors Congress Vice President Megan Watkins is not working as a liaison. She assisted me in this presentation, so that is why her name is on the title slide. I guess we can roll right in. So, here above is our official mission statement. As it reads, we are the student government of the Honors College. We have a goal to facilitate social, philanthropic, and intellectual improvement of our Honors College constituents in an attempt to cultivate a community of scholars seeking to serve our beloved Auburn University and Auburn Honors College. Next slide. So, like it says above, in the recent report, we have 1,827 students at this college and 410 members officially on the Honors Congress on the AU Involved roster. We are very proud to represent and have such a wonderful, diverse, and dedicated group of bright-minded individuals who are willingly interested in serving our honors community. Next slide. So, at the Honors College structure, we have 4 wonderful executive officer positions in our president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. They see over our formal chair heads, philanthropy chair, our speaker, spirit, and media chairs, and the liaison, of course. Next slide. So we feel the need for a liaison because we strongly feel that our college and Congress deserve their own voice. We want to display our progress and feedback from our constituents to the Student Government Association, and we feel that an appointed liaison would give this college the opportunity to do just that. Not only this, but a liaison can be a key communicator and a bridge to senators. If we're going to talk about reaching out to those constituents that feel often underrepresented, we feel that we are the organization to give just that opportunity. Next slide. So, some of our barriers that have plagued this organization and its place in student government for years is most definitely accountability. There cannot be no opportunity for trust and reliability if someone cannot hold up the end of their position. This has been especially the case with liaisons. And how are we combating this?
Well, the vice president and the liaison are working together to ensure that we are preserving accountability and gaining great outcomes. It is always good to be on the same page, and we are prioritizing that. We also do not have a voting seat, which at times will make constituents feel often frustrated and like they are being left out of change in this university. Next slide. So among our goals and aspirations, one is that we are going to keep pursuing our recruitment efforts for incoming freshman members, especially going forward this fall. Strength in numbers is something that we want to work greatly to our advantage. We are also working to change the image of this organization. We can often be considered a resume builder program, and we want to move past that preposterous label. So, how can we do that? Well, we change the culture. We encourage helping and supporting community service and our philanthropic efforts. And we want people to see that we are actively working for Auburn University and working for this honors college. We also want to emphasize student involvement so we can be flexible for their needs. We feel this is very important, and we want to build students that make up this community. We are also seeking to collaborate with other campus organizations to provide an environment, a great environment. Lastly, we want to finish restructuring this organization so we can feel more like a Congress and an organization that is for the students and will listen to the students. Next slide. Back to that note on collaboration, we are actively collaborating with other groups, including our own groups in the Honors College, such as Diversity in Honors and Honor Serves, to the Student Government Association itself. Next slide. So, what is obviously essential to hearing our own constituents? That is feedback. And how is Honors Congress doing this? Well, we're making Qualtrics gain opinion. We are implementing open forum at meetings so that our constituents can actively and openly raise their voice. We're giving an open line of communication for students to access, and we are doing our part to make sure our body has a true voice. Next slide. Some notable accomplishments. We have accomplished quite a bit lately, and we are continuing to accomplish quite a bit. We are very productive. We are hosting the Honors College Congress formal this Saturday at beautiful Dogwood Farms in Seal, Alabama. We are getting benefit nights. I mean, who doesn't love a good movie or a meal at Panda Express or Taco Mamas? We have actively organized these events to make sure that we can acquire the appropriate amount of funding necessary to keep this organization active and productive. We are establishing philanthropic events. We are organizing an event directly for next month in April, and we are intending to do even more with this side of our program in the distant future. We are also adding new committees, but they're not just any new committee. They are designed by our active student members who have actively and openly expressed interest in our meetings. Even better, our exec team is now taking stronger interest in SGA and Senate matters as we look to get more involved with the program. That's all I got for this presentation.
Thank you so much, Mr. Owens. That was phenomenal. You were good to go for the evening. Oh, then go right ahead. I'm so sorry.
All right, so as a final reminder, like I touched on that slide, our Honors Congress formal is this Saturday. There are still tickets at $20 each if you're still interested. We are voting on committees this week, and we are hoping that we will establish a diversity committee to go out with diversity in honors. We are extending our media and spirit share deadlines, so please encourage your honors program constituents to apply. We are, like I said, we're designing a philanthropy event for next month. And lastly, we have created a formal contract for our leadership members, and it will outline the responsibilities of leadership. All of those are required to sign. Thank y'all. Hope y'all have a great rest of the week.
Thank you, Mr. Owens. Mr. Donovan, if you would like to come up here for BSU.
Evans, BSU. Alright, we can go ahead. I'll start. A little about me. My name is Donovan Evans. I'm a major in nuclear science within the College of Bootcamp. I am a freshman, and my qualifications for this position is I am a freshman committee member of BSU, as well as the only freshman to run for BSU executive election. Constituency. Black Student Union was founded in 1983. We currently have over 1,000 active members. We have weekly meetings on Monday, every Monday at 5 p.m. We have main signature events such as Jazz and Poetry Night, Midterm Mysteries, Soul Food Bazaar, and our week-long Unity Week. BSU's purpose. Our purpose is to represent the interests and concerns of Black students at Auburn University, to bring together all aspects of Black student life for the purpose of improving the campus environment, and to encourage the involvement of Black students in all campus activities. Discouraging of institutional individual acts and symbols of racism, promote the Auburn spirit and tradition of excellence, and heighten the awareness and friendships between races. Our motto is unity through education. How do we achieve that purpose? At BSU, we are a multifaceted organization such as the SGA. Features an executive board, a cabinet with multiple branches, including feedback, service programs, finance, and marketing. We also have a freshman committee, such as SGA, that serves like a freshman forum to bring incoming freshmen into leadership and advocacy positions. Our signature meeting is our General Assembly, also known as GA, which is held every Monday at 5 p.m. For our constituents, these weekly events are a safe space and a safe haven for where they can express themselves openly and how they feel on current situations on campus. Our constituency often feels like they are not being advocated for on this campus. Just as over 6% of the population on campus, Black students are under a lot of pressure to excel. BSU provides many opportunities through our work with UPC and SGA on our annual Unity Week. Fact about that, every event we've held this year has reached our 50 people cap. Hopefully we can achieve more when the number goes up. We also partner yearly with Auburn Dance Marathon and Beat Down Food Drive to ensure that our students are receiving the well-rounded experiences that they need to be successful. Through all of these things, BSU is able to ensure that we are constantly uniting Auburn's campus through education. Milestones we wish to achieve as BSU. Our constituents want to see a general resolution from our peers regarding the absence of Black students on our campus. Many constituents have also expressed that they would like a response to the Auburn for Change letter. We also want to ensure that we are maintaining our budget the same or an increased level to continue to provide the excellent programs that we do. That is all.
Thank you so much. Leah, if you're on here, do you have anything for Student Veterans Association?
Yes, I do, and I apologize in advance because my brother's going to be making some noises in the background. But I have a really awesome announcement to make. Our organization at one point used to be primarily for veterans who were students and their dependents, but we have recently opened it up so that any student can be a part of the Auburn Student Veterans Association. So if any of you would be interested in being a part of that and doing, taking part in some of the things that we do, you are now more than welcome to do so. There's no stipulations or anything that come with it anymore. So any student can be a part of this. So just wanted to say that.
Well, thank you so much, Leah. That concludes our reports from our liaisons, and we will now move into current orders of business. Oh my goodness, freshman committee. I did it again. I'm so sorry. Come on, Megan. We're ready. Thank you, Megan. From here, we will move into current orders of business for the evening. The first order will be PSSB 21031501, presented by Graf Sullivan for the Harrison School of Pharmacy Senator Confirmation.
Just to read it, I'll ask for solid engineer, I ask approval of the following, Ashley Haynes, Harrison School Pharmacy Center, obviously senior, she's part of two great college reports, no questions this past week, so I move to pass this bill as written.
Is there a second?
Second.
It is moved and seconded to adopt the bill just as read. Is there any debate? Seeing there is no further debate, we will move into a vote. Please comment yes in the chat for the approval and comment no for the denial. The ayes have it and the bill is adopted. Our second bill of the evening will be PSSB 21031502, presented by Graf Sullivan for the EVP of Cabinet Administration definition.
So just to read the changes, the Executive Vice President of County Administration oversees the internal operations of SGA Cabinet, the recruitment of new members, and the development of current members. So once again, this is just the definition of Tyler's new role. We talked about it before. I haven't had any questions on it, so I move to pass this bill as written.
Is there a second? It is moved and seconded to adopt the bill just as read. Is there any debate? Seeing that there is no further debate, we will move into a vote. The ayes have it and the bill is adopted as written. We will now move into the third current order of business for the evening, PSSB 21031503, presented by Graf Sullivan for the change of Executive Secretary to EVP of Cabinet Administration.
An executive cabinet member shall automatically forfeit their membership of the executive cabinet if they have more than 3 unexcused absences from required events and/or meetings of the executive cabinet. Excused absences shall be approved by the executive vice president of cabinet administration. The executive vice president of cabinet administration shall consider the principles laid out in Auburn University policy and class attendance. Once again, the executive secretary, this position that no longer exists, was absorbed into Tyler's role as executive vice president of cabinet administration. This is just kind of tidying up some of those loose ends. I didn't receive any questions this week, so I'm going to pass this bill as written.
Is there a second? It is seconded and moved to adopt the bill as just read. Is there any debate? Seeing that there is no further debate, we will move into a vote. The ayes have it and the bill is adopted. We would move into future orders. However, our first future order of the week was moved to a current order. So the next current order on the floor this evening is PSSB 21032201, presented by Graf Sullivan for the College of Human Sciences Schools Council Vice President Confirmation.
Yes, so this is the confirmation table last week. Says Mr. Duncan, College of Human Sciences Schools Council Vice President. Just some concerns were raised, so we thought we would give Lucille a chance to come, kind of explain why she wants to do the role, and what she wants to get done in the role. So with that being said, I now yield my time to Lucille Duncan.
Thank you all for having me this evening. So my name is Lucille Duncan, and I am obviously a senior in the College of Human Sciences. And so I ran for vice president because I felt like I could be a voice for my fellow classmates. I am currently a peer advisor and a student ambassador for the college, and then I'm also the moment chairman for the fashion event for Auburn. And so I love my college so much, and so I felt like it'd be a really good position for me because I'm always in the building and I know a lot of the students really well, and so I always hear a lot of their opinions, and so it's nice to kind of be their voice. And I know there's a lot of good things that can come from me being vice president. One of the things I really focused on was mental health awareness, and because in our college we have interior design and apparel design, and those are kind of more like long hour intense work. And so a lot of us are in the lab really late at night, and we're working very hard, and it's really stressful towards like the end of the semester. And so that's when I thought to kind of have more mental health awareness around our spider hall, and so that was kind of what I wanted to mainly bring to the table. And yeah, do you have any questions?
Are there any questions?
Well, sort of liberal arts. So one thing that I'm just sort of concerned about a little bit is that in the time that it would take for you to go through transition, that your term would sort of not be up, but it would be nearly up, and that it's not enough time for you to be able to sort of make a substantive change. So what are you looking at as sort of your reasoning to sort of run for this position, even though you may not are wanting to serve the full term because of other people here?
Yes. So that's like a honestly really good point you made. So I've worked in the college for 2 years as a peer advisor, and so I've always like had these really good ideas of like how to really kind of implement things for students, and things that kind of need to be changed, but I never kind of had that idea of how to get that passed along. And one of the things that I came up with about 2 weeks ago when I was working in college was I was applying for my internships, and I had no clue how to figure out where I was going to live and how to find roommates. And so then I went to our advisor, who is over our human sciences executive committee, and I said, have we any type of thing where students can go and look at their internship, like living, like how to go about living for internships? And she said, no. And I was like, oh, well, I think we should maybe go kind of do something for them, because, I mean, that's just one of the things I kind of realized. And so that was just recently as well. And so I just kind of want to be able to bring things to actually have change for our students that better their education and experience through our college.
Log engineering. So I know some of the initiatives you just talked about, and they did sound like really great. I just wanted to ask if you had a plan in place, because like you kind of talked about, there is about like only a month and a half left in your term since you'll be graduating. If you would plan to like, because these initiatives do take time, how you plan to get those in just a short amount of time?
Yes, so I am graduating in the summer, but I'm working in the spring. And so I plan to only do my internship for 10 weeks, and then I'll be staying at Auburn for the rest of my time. And then I'll obviously be in contact with Sydney and just kind of making sure that they're comfortable, and if they have any questions, because I've been an ambassador for 2 years, and she's over the ambassadors along with Caroline, and so I just can kind of give them a lot of good ideas for like how the ambassadors kind of work, and with our workshops that are coming up. And so I know it's a short amount of time, but I think in my short amount of time I can get a lot done. And
So I'm asking this from Melly's point of view. So since you won't be here in the fall, what are we supposed to do? Not what are we supposed to do, obviously, electing and that's different. But so in the fall, we'll be busy right out the gate. Welcome week stuff, things to be ambassadors, things to just make the people in our
even for our college. So why would we spend, some of that time, precious time, trying to transition someone new into that position when Marilyn and I and you would have already had this nice, we've already been in meetings together, we know how each other work. Why would we transition somebody new into that role when we could have time to, or why would we spend that time when we could be doing other things?
Yes, I think that's a really good point because time is really precious in this instance. But one thing that I can say is since I've been in the college for so long and worked alongside a lot of the students and all of the faculty as a peer advisor and overseeing the student advisory board, I can always be on the phone to help y'all with any ideas that y'all need or any questions y'all may have for, hey, how does this welcome week go? Or what's this best manner to contact Louisa Woods with for helping the students? And so I know being on the phone isn't a good answer, obviously, but that's what I can offer.
Sorry, again, from Maryland. So you're an ambassador, right?
Yes.
But this is the vice president of the college, being Maryland's right-hand man. So how does, how to be an ambassador, you're going to the chair, love your work. But how does that translate into you being vice president? If that makes sense.
Yes, so how that would translate for me being vice president, we had a meeting today with Kim Parker, the woman over our committees, and I started taking on some of the roles that are just giving Marilyn a little bit less work, and then I've offered to do all the graphics for the Instagram, and then do some other things for her that are just kind of smaller, and then since I've been ambassador for 2 years and she's been one for I think a year, I can always answer questions on this is how we can do this leadership program, and this is how when they're talking to the students about potential major changes or potential students coming in, what the best way to educate those new students are, in just different ways that I've found over my time. So I can pass that on to her, for her to pass on to them, if that makes sense.
So would you say, on another note, that your time that you spent within your own college is more of an aid rather than, say, the other way most people are looking at it in this stance as somewhat of you not being able to fulfill, you would be able to fulfill more of your position due to the fact that you've been within the college for so long, maybe more than someone that might be newer?
Can you read that question?
I'm saying due to you being there longer and having the connections, your logistics would be a lot better than someone maybe new, and so you could achieve a lot in the time that you have.
Yes, I 100% agree, and due to me being on the Dean's Student Advisory Council and being the apparel design representative first department, and then being the philanthropy chair, and then being peer advisor, and then also tutoring all the pattern making design students, I have I have my ears on the floor with all the students, and so when things aren't when they're having hard times, they can trust in me, and then I can possibly help get things done to benefit them and the students, because I have the trusted resources of the faculty, of Dean Hubbard, Karen Tidwell, our office manager, all of the advisors, and then the department heads, all of the professors. Because I was a transfer student, I didn't have that 4-year experience like I'm sure most of y'all had. And so I transferred in and met with our student recruiter, Louisa Woods, and then that fall I became a peer advisor. And then that's just kind of how I started working within my college and fell in love with it. And so I do feel like my long work within the college does give me an advantage over someone who hasn't been in any positions within the college or within any of the clubs within the college or even an ambassador within the college.
Are there any further questions?
so much for doing that.
With that, I move to pass this bill as written.
Is there a second? It is moved and seconded to adopt the bill just read. I would say, is there any debate? I feel like we just did that. However, I will ask, is there any debate? I stand corrected.
Sorry, Cole. I just have one thing that I did want to make aware to the entire student body, because in discussing this throughout the week, I had some people that weren't aware of this, because yes, we have to cover laws, but there also is a second governing legislative document that we also have, the Constitution. So in Article 7, Section 4, all vacancies, and this is about school organization, all vacancies shall be filled by appointment by the SGA president with the approval of 2/3 of the membership of the student senate. So I just want to put that out there, put it on everyone's mind, so they're aware as they're voting.
Thank you, Riley. That was very valid. Is there any further debate? Yes, there is.
Elsewhere liberal arts, I move to recess for 5 minutes. Just because I would like to just ask the person a question I would like to ask them here. Can you use your time? Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll withdraw. Sorry.
I do not know what just occurred.
Alright, also just two more quick points. Remember we are responsible for confirming her, not choosing her. So it's already gone through a long process, that she made it through. I'm sure she's qualified, so the question now becomes, do we think that it is right to confirm someone who cannot serve a full term? Do we think the process was fair? I would think so. And then, also there's concerns about time. I will say that it will take at least probably another 3 weeks to choose a new senator or choose a new vice president and confirm them and get them working. So if you want to talk about time, you will be losing time by that. Once again,
I have one more thing just on the process of choosing, because I know it's picked internally by the college, and I would invite Senator Williams, if you want to come here and talk about how human sciences kind of came to that, how y'all pick it internally, because I know it is decided internally within the college.
Okay, so, human sciences is one of the smaller colleges, obviously, there's only one senator, 2 student council, positions, president, vice president. That being said, we work very closely together, and there's also this ambassador group that, Lucille was speaking, but, that she was speaking of, and the school's council and the senator kind of, preside the exec over the ambassador. So, when there is a vacancy, it is opened up to the entirety of the college, and in this particular, normally, when this has happened in the past, it's just people from that ambassador group who step up and say, I'll do it, what do you do? And then if there are multiple people, the ambassadors will vote on it. Marilyn and I, don't think this is necessarily the way, but our Constitution will be given right. So, in this specific case, with Lucille's case, there were 3 people who expressed interest to our advisor that they wanted this position. Lucille, and then 2 more people, one was a sophomore, one I'm not sure. So what happened was that Lucille and this other girl came to our ambassador meeting. They both spoke their case, they made their point, the ambassadors voted on Lucille. Marilyn and I were not aware at the time that Lucille could not finish her term, or we would have said to Ms. Parker, why is she running? That being said, there's nothing in the code of laws about serving your full term, there's nothing in the human sciences constitution about serving your full term, because there is no human sciences constitution, it's the ambassador constitution, because they are attached to the ambassadors, I don't know why. But, that's how Lucille was chosen, I suppose, and like somebody, I think it was Senator Sullivan said, I'm not up here to say that Lucille isn't a great person, that she cannot
she won't do a great job, but why am I going to stand up here 2 months from now or our first meeting in the fall trying to confirm somebody else? When we can confirm somebody, when there were people who, wanted to do it, who could serve the full term, and would have done just as a good job. Like I said, it seems like a hassle, and like I said, we really do admire Lucille and all her work and all her input and things like that with ambassadors, but it just doesn't seem feasible to me. Any questions about human sciences or anything?
I would like to make a point that if anyone needs to come up for debate, I must first invite you to do so. And when you speak into the mic, please be clear and loud, and also begin by using Robert's rules by stating your college and last name. So Senator Williams, if you're done, I will ask, is there any further debate?
Matthews at large, I'd like to yield my time to Tyler Ward to further explain the confirming and denying process.
Right, so I don't want you guys to walk in confused. So the process is simple. Y'all aren't chosen to select. So you didn't go through the selection process, application process. None of this should be about that. But just like y'all confirm me, y'all confirm Rhett, y'all confirm all of us, y'all did that on the integrity of whether you think we can serve this position and whether y'all think that we were chosen accurately. So if y'all thought that A, we wouldn't be able to serve that position, we would have denied. If y'all thought that B, the process to how we or Rhett were selected wasn't fair or equitable, then we would be denied. And so don't confuse the term of selection with confirming, because those are two different actions regarding two different things. I hope that helps y'all.
Is there any further debate?
Paris, Patsy, I don't know, Lucille, but I did just want to point out that we were elected by the student body to represent all the students, and that includes the incoming freshmen that will be coming up this next fall, and those are whole group of students that she will never be interacting with, that she will never get the chance to represent, and that is a large portion of our student body, and those are our future leaders that are coming up, and they have valuable input, and as a freshman came up here and shows all the things that they are concerned about, she will never be able to hear that, and that was just the point I wanted to make, that we're representing the entirety of Auburn University, and that includes future Auburn family members.
Thank you. Is there any further debate? Seeing that there is no further debate, we will move into a vote. Please comment yes or no. Jet, you can take your time. The noes have it, and the bill is not adopted. We will now move on to our future orders of business, starting with PSSB 2103-2202, presented by Hope Johnson and Graf Sullivan for the support staff confirmations. This is a future order.
Johnson Business asks for the approval of the following: Taylor Edwards, Executive Secretary of the Student Senate; Jet Davis, Technician; Haley Ward, Parliamentarian. And these are people behind us, and they're really crucial to how all the behind the scenes works. You do a really great job in questions.
Thank you. Our next future order will be PSSB 2103-2203, presented by Graf Sullivan for the Honors College Liaison Confirmations.
I ask approval of the following: Luke Owens, Honors College Liaison, we saw the presentation today. You did a good job. We'll see what he's going to do in the future.
The next future order is PSSB 2103-2204, presented by Graf Sullivan for the Black Student Union Liaison Confirmation.
The following: Don Evans, Black Student Union Senate Liaison. Once again, you saw the presentation today. If you have any questions, just go ahead and ask either the liaison
That concludes future orders. We will now move into announcements. Thank you all once again for coming in and being well prepared, well versed, and having a lot of great feedback to say. I know I sound like a broken record probably at this point saying this, but I genuinely am continually impressed every time when I walk in this room. So many of you are willing to speak and contribute to this conversation, and that's what this is really all about. I like that John David Jones made a great point to say that, we do have quite a privilege here, and I really appreciate the respect and integrity that you all treat each other with. And just saying, in your endeavors to make these reports, that is absolutely phenomenal. And as we move forward, I really want to see that effort start to be given into writing legislation. And then moreover, being able to go during your office hours and talk about that legislation. So when you guys come up here to give your reports, you're not only speaking about the concerns and compliments of your peers and peers and constituents for that week, but you also can have their feedback on the legislation that is being presented on the floor. So, other than that, for me, thank you all. And I'm going to give it up to Pearson now.
Before jumping into my report, one thing that I've also referenced before but have yet to do is talk through Box. So Box, as you probably heard mentioned, is SGA's digital storage system. So either later tonight or tomorrow, we'll give each of y'all access to y'all's specific committee's Box folder. Box is, as I said, SGA's digital storage system. So it's a great way for you to look back on work that previous groups have done, and for y'all to also store and be able to collaborate that well. So Box allows y'all to work simultaneously. So if your committee is working apart throughout the week, you can see what each other's working on, and it also has unlimited storage. And so with that, the biggest thing with Box is not to delete anything that is in Box. Even if something you come across a file that feels irrelevant, it's often something that years later we end up needing for whatever reason. So I'll explain more in the email you'll get tomorrow with access to your committee's Box folder. But if you have any questions about Box, let myself or your committee chairs know. And then just as Cole talked about, it's been great hearing all of the reports y'all have been giving, talking about the specific things that are happening within y'all schools and colleges. And so as y'all continue to gather this feedback and look into what your peers are saying in other institutions, I want to also start thinking about what impactful legislation can look like. And knowing that impactful legislation takes a lot of time to write because it's going to have a large effect on the student body. So the first point is, as you're writing this legislation, to basically set deadlines for yourself and then make sure you're meeting them along the way. So with Student Senate meeting, you can, as you start to come up with ideas, pick a meeting date in the future of when you hope to see that legislation pass, and then work backwards. So thinking if it's going to be a current order, then it's a future order the week before, and then using that time to set how much time you need, and thinking about what Molly's talked about, what the amount of time that goes in to researching in the weeks beyond that. And so when you set these deadlines, really holding yourself accountable so that you're always taking steps each week to progress that. Then secondly, end each resolution with a clear ask. So the example was not a specific piece of legislation that the Senate passed, but a few years ago, SGA really looked into coming up with safe rides home for students late at night. And so when going to parking services, it could be easy to say, we support students getting home safely at night. And parking services would say, yes, we agree. But then being able to come up with that specific ask at the end of the resolution is what kind of separates it from being a raw, we support this, to something that gives the administrator a clear-cut direction on the way it's what students want. So it's knowing that they're not a part of all these conversations, and when they read the resolution, know exactly what those next steps need to be. And then lastly, just remembering to always think of the big picture. So this room represents 0.11% of Auburn students, which means 99.89% of Auburn students are not in this room. And a common mistake is thinking that the 99.89 isn't affected by this 0.11%. And so it's knowing the work that y'all do in this room leaves this room. And so when y'all pass legislation, that has effects on the student body. And so thinking about, as we're hearing student concerns, how is this group of 34 senators truly working to serve and promote the individual student, unifying all that is offered. That's all I got for tonight. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Tristan. Brett, all good? All right, boys and girls. Jamie, do you have anything? Well, in that case, thank you for this evening. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your faces. This meeting is adjourned.